Yo, what up, philosophically fabulous people? Welcome back to the channel where we try to wrestle with the big, scary stuff using ancient wisdom. Today, we're diving headfirst into that slimy, sometimes paralyzing beast we all know and, well, maybe don't love so much: fear. But don't worry, we're not just gonna sit here and tremble. We've got a secret weapon, a mental martial art passed down through the ages, and it's called Stoicism. Buckle up, buttercups, because we're about to learn how to tell fear to take a hike, a long one, preferably uphill. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. What is fear, anyway? It's that cold sweat, that racing heart, that little voice in your head screaming, "Danger, Will Robinson." And let's be real, that little voice can be a real drama queen. At its core, fear is a natural human response, a built-in alarm system that goes off when we perceive a threat. Think caveman days, rustling in the bushes. Could be a tasty berry, or a saber-toothed tiger looking for a snack. Better to be scared and ready to bolt, right? That's the biological and evolutionary gig of fear, survival, plain and simple. It's kept our ancestors, and us, from doing some seriously dumb stuff, like, poking a sleeping bear. Probably not a great idea. Thanks, fear. Now, here's where things get a little complicated. That healthy, adaptive fear? Totally necessary. It's what stops you from jaywalking in front of a speeding bus. It's what makes you study for that exam instead of just hoping for the best. Though, let's be honest, we've all been there. But then there's its shady cousin, debilitating anxiety. This is when that alarm system goes haywire, like a car alarm that won't shut off, even when there's no actual threat. It's the fear of fear itself, the what-ifs spiraling out of control, the mental hamster wheel of worry. This kind of fear doesn't protect us. It paralyzes us. It stops us from chasing our dreams, from connecting with people, from, just generally enjoying the heck out of life. And that, my friends, is where our philosophical superheroes, the Stoics, come marching in. So, who are these Stoics, and why should we care what they have to say about our modern-day anxieties? Picture this: ancient Greece and Rome, togas, thoughtful beards. Okay, maybe ditch the toga for your next Zoom meeting. But these weren't just guys in robes pondering their navels. They were practical philosophers who believed that the key to a good life, a life of tranquility and resilience, lies in virtue, reason, and accepting the things we cannot control. Think of them as the OG life coaches, but with way cooler sandals. Now, one of the cornerstone concepts of Stoicism that's gonna be super helpful in our battle against fear is the dichotomy of control. Sounds fancy, right? Don't let the big words scare you. See what I did there? It's actually pretty straightforward. The Stoics realized that some things in life are within our power to influence: our thoughts, our actions, our judgments, and a whole lot of other stuff. Not so much. Whether it rains on your picnic, what other people think of you, the outcome of that job interview after you've done your best. These things are largely outside our control. Trying to control the uncontrollable is like trying to herd cats while blindfolded on a unicycle. It's a recipe for stress, frustration, and, you guessed it, fear. We fear losing things we don't even truly possess, like other people's approval. The Stoics would say, focus on what you can control, my friend, and let the rest sort itself out. It's like being the captain of your own ship. You can steer it, you can adjust the sails, but you can't control the weather. So, why waste energy yelling at the clouds? And speaking of preparing for the unpredictable roller coaster of life, the Stoics had this neat little trick called negative visualization. Now, Before you think this is all doom and gloom, it's not about being a negative Nancy. It's actually about mental preparedness and gratitude. It involves taking a moment to imagine bad things that could happen. Losing your job, a relationship ending, even something as simple as spilling your morning coffee. Tragedy. Now, why would you intentionally bum yourself out like that? Because by mentally rehearsing these potential setbacks, two things happen. First, you realize that you're probably more resilient than you think. You start to brainstorm how you would cope, and that reduces the fear of the unknown. Second, and this is the sneaky good part, it makes you appreciate what you have right now so much more. That warm cup of coffee, suddenly a precious gift. Your supportive friends, treasure them. It's like a mental gratitude amplifier powered by a little dose of what if. Think of it as packing an umbrella before it rains. You're not hoping for rain, but you're prepared if it comes. Okay, so we've got the theory down. Now let's get our hands dirty with some actual Stoic practices for kicking fear to the curb. One of the big guns in the Stoic arsenal is premeditatio malorum, which, in plain English, means the premeditation of evils. Sounds a bit dramatic, right? But it's essentially a more structured and intentional version of negative visualization. Instead of just letting worries pop into your head randomly, you deliberately set aside time to think about potential negative situations. Not to wallow in them, but to consider their impact, how you would respond, and what you can learn from them. This isn't about being pessimistic. It's about being realistic and mentally tough. It's like a mental fire drill. You practice so you're not panicking when the real thing, the metaphorical fire, not an actual fire, please don't set things on fire, happens. By thinking through these scenarios beforehand, they lose some of their power over us. The boogeyman under the bed isn't so scary when you've shown a flashlight on him. Another powerful tool in the Stoic toolkit is what we might call moral imagination. This isn't about escaping into fantasy. It's about vividly picturing yourself acting with courage and virtue in the face of fear. Imagine that situation you dread. Maybe it's giving a presentation, having a difficult conversation, or stepping outside your comfort zone in some way. Now, instead of focusing on the fear itself, use your imagination to visualize yourself acting with bravery, integrity, and wisdom. How would your best self handle this? What actions would you take? How would you speak? By creating this mental blueprint of courageous action, you're not just hoping to be brave. You're actively training your mind to respond in a virtuous way when fear tries to hold you back. It's like rehearsing a scene in a play. The more you practice, the more natural and confident you'll be when the curtain rises on the real performance. And let's not forget the good old-fashioned power of self-reflection and journaling. The Stoics were big on knowing thyself, and that includes understanding our fears, where they come from, what triggers them, and the stories we tell ourselves about them. Regularly taking the time to examine your thoughts and feelings, especially those related to fear, can be incredibly insightful. Ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of? What's the worst that could actually happen? Are my fears based on reality or just assumptions? Writing these things down can help you see patterns in your thinking and challenge those irrational, fear-based beliefs. It's like shining a light on the cobwebs in your mind. Once you see them clearly, they lose some of their spookiness. Think of your journal as your personal Stoic therapist, always ready to listen or read without judgment and help you sort through the mental clutter. All right, enough with the ancient wisdom deep dive. Let's bring this stuff into the here and now. How can we actually use these Stoic principles in our everyday modern lives to wrestle with our fears? Let's say you're terrified of public speaking. A Stoic approach might involve a few steps. First, acknowledge the fear. It's a natural feeling. Second, focus on what you can control: your preparation, your knowledge of the topic, your delivery. You can't control whether the audience will love your jokes, though hopefully they will, but you can practice your speech until you're comfortable. Third, practice a little premeditatio malorum. What's the worst that could happen? You stumble over your words. You forget a point. The world isn't going to end. You'll recover, learn from it, and do better next time. And finally, use your moral imagination to picture yourself delivering a confident and engaging presentation. See yourself speaking clearly, connecting with the audience, and feeling proud of yourself for facing your fear. Or maybe you struggle with social anxiety. A Stoic lens might encourage you to focus on your own character and values, rather than seeking external validation. You can control being kind, being a good listener, and engaging authentically in conversations. You can't control whether everyone you meet will instantly become your best friend. And let's be honest, that's probably for the best. Practice mindfulness. Focus on the present moment and the conversation at hand, rather than getting lost in anxious thoughts about what others might be thinking. And remember negative visualization. Even if a social interaction feels awkward, it's likely not the end of the world. You'll survive, and you'll have learned something. And what about those career challenges? Fear of failure can be paralyzing. A Stoic would remind you that setbacks are inevitable. Focus on the effort you put in, the skills you develop, and the integrity with which you pursue your goals. The outcome is often outside your complete control: the economy, company decisions, etc. Practice accepting uncertainty. The future is always a bit fuzzy, and that's okay. And when fear of failure creeps in, use your moral imagination to envision yourself learning from mistakes, persevering through difficulties, and ultimately growing stronger. Remember, it's not about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it. So, how can you start applying these Stoic ideas right now? First, take a moment to identify one specific fear that's been holding you back. Got it? Good. Now, brainstorm ways you could apply the dichotomy of control to that situation. What aspects are within your power to influence? What are you trying to control that you can't? Next, try a little negative visualization. What's a realistic worst-case scenario? How would you cope? What could you learn from it? And finally, spend a few minutes imagining yourself facing that fear with courage and virtue. What would that look and feel like? Even small, consistent steps in applying these principles can make a big difference over time. All right, my philosophical Padawans, let's wrap this up. The key takeaway here is that Stoicism offers a powerful and practical framework for understanding and overcoming fear. It's not about becoming emotionless robots. It's about learning to manage our emotions, focus on what truly matters, virtue, and accept the inevitable ups and downs of life. By understanding the nature of fear, recognizing what we can and cannot control, and actively practicing Stoic techniques like premeditatio malorum and moral imagination, we can gradually loosen fear's grip on our lives and start living with more courage and tranquility. Now, if this whole Stoic thing has piqued your interest, and I hope it has, I highly encourage you to dive deeper. There are tons of amazing books, online resources, and communities out there dedicated to exploring this ancient wisdom. Seriously, go check them out. And hey, what's one small step you're going to take this week to face one of your fears using a little bit of Stoic wisdom? Let me know in the comments below. We can all learn and grow together. Thanks for hanging out with me on this philosophical adventure. If you dug this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our future explorations of how to live a more awesome and less fear-filled life. Until next time, stay stoic, stay strong, and remember, don't poke any sleeping tigers. Seriously, peace out.